I drop into the cool, crystal blue water of my pool, letting the weight of the day dissolve around me. The late afternoon sun glows against my skin, golden and warm, while a light breeze rustles the palm trees lining my backyard. This is my sanctuary, my peace. Buying this house was a milestone, not just for me, but for my family, my ancestors, my entire bloodline. I'm the first Black homeowner in this gated suburban utopia, where every lawn is meticulously trimmed, every driveway lined with luxury SUVs, and every neighbor greets each other with tight-lipped smiles that don't quite reach their eyes. I should have known peace wouldn't last. I'm halfway through my third lap when I hear it, the sound of my gate clicking open. I freeze. Water drips from my arms as I tread in place, listening. Then comes the chatter. Light, polite laughter. The unmistakable squeak of pool floaties being dragged across concrete. I turn toward the noise, just in time to see a little blonde-haired boy cannonball into my pool. I barely have time to process that before another one, a girl in pink goggles, leaps in after him. Water splashes into my face. What the hell? I push my soaked hair back, blinking through the droplets. That's when I see her. Karen Whitmore, HOA president, self-proclaimed, guardian of neighborhood standards, and queen of microaggressions disguised as compliments. She stands at the edge of my pool in crisp white linen pants and a matching visor, holding a clipboard like she's officiating an event. I push myself to the edge of the pool, gripping the concrete ledge. What are you doing in my backyard? Karen waves a dismissive hand.
Oh.
I knocked, but you didn't answer. We figured you wouldn't mind.
We?
I look past her, and my stomach drops. At least 10 more kids are lined up at my gate, clutching kickboards and pool noodles. Behind them, a group of moms in oversized sunglasses and wide-brimmed hats lounge in my patio chairs, sipping lemonade. One of them glances at me, then leans toward another woman and whispers something. They both giggle. My grip on the concrete tightens. Karen follows my gaze and smiles. I've been thinking, she says, in a voice so syrupy it makes my teeth ache. Your pool is such a wonderful resource for the community. So many of these little ones need swim lessons, and it's just sitting here empty most of the time. I narrow my eyes. It's not empty. It's mine. Karen laughs, like I just told the cutest joke. Oh, don't be like that. I already worked everything out with the other parents. Twice a week, just for an hour or two. It's a win-win. My pulse thuds in my ears. This is not a win-win. This is a warning shot. And I already know. Karen isn't the type to take no for an answer.
I don't sleep well that night.
The whole situation with Karen and her uninvited swim school gnaws at me. Maybe it was the way she dismissed me, like I was being unreasonable for wanting to enjoy my own damn pool in peace. Maybe it was the way the other moms barely looked at me, like I was some intruder in my own backyard. Or maybe it was the way she assumed I'd just go along with it, like I didn't have a say. But it's fine. I'll shut this down in the morning. That's what I tell myself. Except when I wake up, my gate is wide open. I step outside, coffee in hand, stomach sinking, wet footprints at the concrete around my pool. A few floaties, ones I don't own, drift lazily in the water. There's a soggy towel on one of my patio chairs. Someone was here. Without my permission. My jaw tightens. I installed a lock on that gate for a reason. This isn't just some misunderstanding. It's deliberate. I storm out front, checking my Ring camera footage. But somehow the angle is off. The recording is blocked. That's when I see her. Karen, standing in her driveway across the street, sipping an iced coffee, like she has all the time in the world. She spots me and gives a little wave, that same smug HOA queen smile plastered on her face. Morning, she chirps, strolling over like we're old friends. I cross my arms. Did you come into my yard last night? She tilts her head, feigning innocence. Oh, no, of course not. But some of the parents mentioned the kids were sad about yesterday, so they might have just, let themselves in. I exhale slowly. Karen, that's called trespassing. She laughs. A light, condescending laugh. Oh, don't be so dramatic. It's not like anything was stolen. My grip tightens around my coffee mug. That's not the point. Karen waves a dismissive hand. I just think it's such a shame that you're so territorial. We're a community, after all. And, well, she gives me a look, one of those sweet but not sweet looks I've seen too many times before. It's not a good look to be so uncooperative. My chest tightens. I know what she's implying. A lone black homeowner, refusing to share with the nice white families in the neighborhood. Not neighborly. Not a team player. The kind of thing that I don't wait. By noon, I've installed a brand new padlock on my gate. The old one? Cut clean through. I replace it with a reinforced steel version. Tamper-proof. Unbreakable. Or so I think. The next morning, I step outside, expecting to enjoy my coffee without an audience of uninvited children. Instead, I find the gate wide open. Karen and her little swim school empire are back. Kids splashing, parents lounging, my poolside chairs occupied by people who don't even live here. And the lock.
Gone.
Again. I march straight up to her, voice tight. Did you cut my lock? Karen turns, smiling like she's amused by the question. Oh, I didn't personally, but I'm sure someone just got a little enthusiastic. I can't really blame them, can you? I stare at her, my pulse pounding. I can actually, because this is trespassing. Again. Karen sighs, setting her clipboard down. Listen, I understand you're new here. But in this neighborhood, we like to think of things as shared resources. She gestures toward the water. This pool is so underutilized. I mean, I hardly ever see you in it. I just assumed you'd be happy to contribute to the community. Contribute, I say, voice dangerously low. This is my private property. You don't get to decide how I contribute. She presses a hand to her chest, feigning mock offense.
Oh, dear.
You're making it sound like we're some kind of criminals. You are. The other parents shift uncomfortably, pretending not to hear us. Some of them glance at me, then look away. They know this is wrong, but they won't say a damn thing. Karen leans in slightly, voice softer. You know, it's really not a good look to be so hostile, especially when it's just a few kids learning to swim. There it is again. That thinly veiled warning. Be careful. Don't be the angry black guy. I inhale sharply, then turn around and pull out my phone. I'm done with the games, Karen. I'm calling the police. Before I even finish the sentence, she laughs. A genuine, belly-deep laugh. Oh, honey, you go right ahead. She gestures toward the kids in the water. Tell them a bunch of sweet little children are learning how to swim in the big, scary man's pool. See how that plays out. My stomach turns. She knows what she's doing. She knows how the world sees me, how a call to the police wouldn't result in her getting punished. It would be me. Karen tilts her head, eyes gleaming. You don't want to be a neighborhood problem, do you? I grip my phone tighter. This isn't just about a pool anymore. This is a power move. Gathering allies. That night, I make a decision. If I can't rely on the law, I'll rely on something else. Cold, hard evidence. I upgrade my security system. Hidden cameras. Multiple angles. Motion detectors. No blind spots this time. And then I start making calls. I reach out to Monica, a black woman on the HOA board who's always been wary of Karen's leadership. She listens quietly as I explain the situation. She cut your lock? Monica says, her voice sharp with disbelief. Twice. I confirm. A pause. Then, send me the footage. I'll bring it up at the next meeting. I also reach out to my next-door neighbor, Dan, who's been in the neighborhood for years. Older white guy, Vietnam vet, doesn't say much, but he sees everything. Dan listens as I lay it all out. Then, after a long moment, he says, I saw him, you know. I blink. Saw who? Them parents. Busted your lock open. That Whitmore woman, too. Thought it was odd, but figured you'd handle it. My pulse spikes. You'd be willing to say that at the HOA meeting? Dan takes a slow sip of his beer. Don't like people thinking they can just take what ain't theirs. He glances over at me. Yeah, I'll say it. Raising the stakes. The next day, I leave for work feeling a little more prepared, a little more in control. But when I come home, it's worse. Karen's swim school is in full swing. The gate is wide open. My pool deck is crowded. There are even more kids in the water, at least 15. And now, there's a sign on my fence. A professionally printed banner, zip-tied to the gate. Whitmore Swim Academy. I feel my entire soul leave my body. Karen, who dares to stand at my grill, flipping burgers like this is some kind of goddamn block party, sees me and waves. Oh, don't be mad. The parents chipped in for the banner. It's just temporary, I promise. Something inside me snaps. This isn't just Karen thinking she's entitled to my space. This is theft. This is humiliation. This is a blatant, public display of power. And Karen thinks she's won. Oh, she has no idea what's coming. I don't walk into my backyard. I march. The air feels thick, hot with chlorine and entitlement. My pool, my patio, my space. All of it overrun. Kids splash in the water, their laughter sharp against the pounding in my ears. Parents sip drinks under my umbrella, stretched out on my furniture like they belong here. And then there's Karen, holding court by the grill, spatula in hand, like she owns the damn place. She spots me and smirks. Oh, you're home early. Perfect timing. We just started grilling. Want a burger? She says it loud, so everyone hears. So she can play it off like this is a neighborhood event, like I'm the guest. Like I don't live here. I exhale, through my nose. Everyone. Out. A few parents exchange uneasy glances. The kids, oblivious, keep splashing. Karen tilts her head. Oh, don't be so dramatic. The kids are having such a good time. You wouldn't want to be the one to ruin the fun, would you? She's baiting me, trying to make me the villain. I take another step forward. My voice drops. I'm not asking. Get out of my yard. Now. Karen laughs. Like I just said the funniest thing she's ever heard. Oh, honey, she says, setting the spatula down. I don't think you understand how this works. She gestures toward the parents, the kids, the banner on my fence. This isn't just your pool anymore. My jaw clenches. The hell it isn't. Karen sighs like I'm exhausting. Well, that's not what the HOA thinks. She pulls out a folder and flashes a document. I glance at it, and my stomach tightens. An HOA petition. Pages of signatures. See, she says sweetly, the neighborhood voted, and we all agree, your pool is a valuable community asset. I stare at her. You think an HOA petition means you own my backyard? She shrugs. It means we have a majority opinion. And if you push this any further, well... She gives a fake, sympathetic smile. The HOA has ways of making things difficult. That's the threat. Fines. Harassment. Bullshit code violations. Maybe even an attempt to force me out. She thinks she's won. She doesn't realize I came prepared. The reveal. I take a slow breath, then I smile. A calm, knowing smile. Karen's eyes narrow. Just a little. What? I pull out my phone and tap the screen. The speakers hidden in my yard crackle to life. And then her voice plays. Oh, I didn't personally, but I'm sure someone just got a little enthusiastic. I just assumed you'd be happy to contribute to the community. You don't want to be a neighborhood problem, do you? The exact words she said to me. Clear. Crisp. Undeniable. The parents freeze. Karen's smile vanishes. But I'm not done. I tap again, and security footage projects onto the outdoor TV behind me. Karen. Cutting my lock. Letting people in. Standing by while my property is trespassed and vandalized. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Karen goes pale. Where did you? I cut her off. Oh, but wait. There's more. Another clip. This time, Dan's voice. Saw and bust the lock open. That Whitmore woman, too. Thought it was odd, but figured you'd handle it. Silence. Karen's whole body stiffens. I step closer. You knew you were trespassing. You knew this was illegal. And yet, here you are, playing queen of my backyard. A few parents start grabbing their things. One mom hustles her kid out of the water. Karen spins toward them. Oh, please. He's just twisting things. Another voice cuts her off. Monica, standing at the gate, arms crossed, HOA board members beside her. We saw the footage, Monica says, her voice like steel. And we had a little board meeting without you, Karen. Karen turns red. You can't. Oh, we can. Monica steps forward. Not only is this trespassing, but you've been using HOA funds for this little swim school without approval. More gasps. Even her own people start looking disgusted.
Karen whirls on me.
You think you're so clever, she hisses. I hold her gaze, unshaken.
No, Karen.
I just think you finally ran out of places to hide. Karen's face goes from red to ashen in the blink of an eye. Her eyes dart around, desperate, trying to find a way out of this. She looks at the HOA members, then to the parents, like she's trying to rebuild her fortress of power in the space of a few seconds. But there's no escape. The truth is out, and there's no denying it. Monica steps forward, calm, composed, in control. You've been using the pool for profit without any permits. You've been lying to everyone. This isn't just a neighborhood disagreement anymore, Karen. This is fraud. I watch as the weight of her words sinks in. Karen blinks, taking a half step back. Her jaw tightens, but she doesn't speak, doesn't have the words. She's drowning and she knows it. But then Karen does something unexpected, something I should have seen coming. She turns to the nearest neighbor, a middle-aged man with a red polo shirt and khaki shorts, and says with fake urgency, "Call the police. I'm being harassed. This man is threatening me." Her voice shakes slightly, and her eyes go wide with the kind of desperation that only comes when someone realizes they've lost everything. She points at me, her fingers shaking with accusation. He's a danger. A violent man who's been stalking me. Call the police. It's her last card. And it's a card that's worked for her before. When things got too heated, when her entitlement was challenged, the simple call to the police always tipped the scales in her favor. She'd rely on that same racist weapon, the same race card she tried to play every time things went south. I feel it in my chest, the burn of injustice, the echo of every time I've seen this happen to someone like me. It's too familiar, too real. But this time, I'm not backing down. I don't move. I don't flinch. Instead, I pull my phone out again and tap a few buttons. The screen flickers, and then the live feed from my security cameras is projected onto the screen outside. The footage I uploaded earlier, that was just the start. A new clip begins. Karen, talking to another neighbor, a neighbor I didn't even realize was there. You see, it's so much easier when people think you're just a friendly, well-meaning neighbor. They never question you. And if they do, you just put a little pressure on them. Make them seem unreasonable. Make them look crazy. The screen shows Karen smiling as she talks. It's casual, it's calculated, it's the way she manipulates everyone around her, the way she's played the victim card so many times before. The neighbor looks uncomfortable as she nods, unsure. But isn't that wrong? What if it's not? Oh, honey, Karen interrupts, her tone sweet as honey. Don't you worry about it. It's just how things work. And if people like him can't get the message, then we've got to remove the problem. There it is, the confession. The calculation behind her manipulation. She's been playing us all, working the angles, using race, entitlement, and fear to control the narrative. She's not just trespassing, she's been sowing division, creating enemies, just to maintain her status. The crowd goes completely still. The only sound is the whir of the camera, capturing the truth. Karen's eyes widen in panic. She opens her mouth, but the words don't come. She tries to backtrack, but it's too late. I hear a voice behind me. I have something to add. I turn, and Dan steps forward. His expression is grim, like he's been holding something back for a long time. I saw the whole thing.
His voice is steady.
She came into my yard, too, one afternoon. Said I should keep an eye out for a troublemaker, You're a disruptor to the peaceful community. He looks at Karen, his gaze unwavering. She was trying to turn people against you. Got folks thinking you were dangerous. But I knew it didn't sit right. This wasn't about a damn pool. The neighbors exchange uncomfortable glances. I saw the way she was talking. I knew something was off. The tide is turning. Karen can feel it. She opens her mouth, but her voice is strangled, barely audible. You're lying. But Dan doesn't back down. He shakes his head, voice like gravel. You lied to everyone, Karen. And it's time we all found out the truth. And just when Karen looks like she might try to storm off, like she might even try to run, Monica steps in front of her, uncompromising. I'm afraid it's too late for that. We've already contacted the authorities. And there's enough evidence here to... Wait. Karen's voice cracks. She spins, eyes wild with panic. I'm sorry. This is all a misunderstanding, okay? I was just trying to help. You don't understand. But no one's listening anymore. Karen's world is collapsing around her. The other parents, the ones who were so eager to suck up to her just a moment ago, are now looking at her like they've just woken up from a dream. A few have already started gathering their things, walking away. Monica holds up her hand. No, Karen. You don't get to play the victim anymore. Not after everything you've done. The cops are on their way. The HOA will be forced to take action. And Karen? She's standing there, stunned, her world shattered. The worst part? She knows she deserves it. Karen is still standing there when the police arrive. She's not crying. She's not screaming.
She's stunned.
Frozen. Like she can't quite believe this is happening to her. But it is. Two uniformed officers step through my gate, their eyes sweeping over the scene. The banner, the security footage still playing on the outdoor screen, the neighbors watching in eerie silence. One of the officers, a tall black man with sharp eyes, steps forward. We received a report about trespassing and property damage. He looks at me. Are you the homeowner? Yes. My voice is steady.
Strong.
Karen's head snaps toward me, and suddenly, the fight is back in her eyes. Officer, this is a misunderstanding, she rushes out, trying to control the narrative before I can speak. I don't flinch. I don't even blink. Because I don't have to. I press a button on my phone and the security footage rewinds to the moment Karen cut my lock. The moment she invited the trespassers in. The officer watches. Expressionless. Then he turns to Karen. Ma'am, is that you in the footage? Karen opens her mouth, then closes it. She looks around, searching for anyone, to come to her defense. But no one does. Even the people who used to cling to her every word now keep their distance, as if her downfall is contagious. Dan clears his throat. She's been harassing him for weeks. Thinks she can just take what she wants. Monica steps forward. And we found out she's been funneling HOA money into this swim school, without approval. The officer exhales, disgusted. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, vandalism, and misuse of HOA funds. We'll also be looking into fraud charges. Karen stiffens. No, she breathes. No. But there's no escaping this. The other officer moves behind her, pulling out handcuffs. Hands behind your back. Karen's whole body shakes. You can't do this to me, she hisses, but it's weak.
Hollow.
I watch, arms crossed, as they cuff her, as they walk her out of my yard. And for the first time in weeks, maybe longer, I can finally breathe. Aftermath. News spreads fast. Karen's name and face are plastered all over the neighborhood forums. People share clips of the security footage. Parents talk about how they blindly followed her, never questioning her lies. And the HOA? They hold an emergency meeting. Karen is kicked out of her leadership position. HOA funds are audited. Everything she tried to build on lies and manipulation?
Gone.
I hear she's selling her house. That she can't face the shame of staying here.
Good.
A neighborhood transformed. The first weekend after Karen's fall, I step into my backyard, expecting the echoes of the past weeks to still linger. But there's only peace. The pool is mine again. And when Monica stops by later, she hands me a new lock. For the gate, she says with a small smile. This one's harder to cut. Dan swings by, too. Got some extra cameras if you want 'em. It's small.
But it means something.
They see me now, not as a problem, not as an outsider, as a neighbor. Final reflection. That night, as I float in the pool under the stars, I think about everything that happened. How easy it was for Karen to turn people against me. How hard it was to prove myself. How, even when the truth was clear as day, she still tried to twist it. But in the end, she lost. Not because I was louder, not because I sank to her level, but because I stood my ground.
And that
That feels like justice.